created a recipe for grain-free, gluten-free granola. And today I would like to show you how I make that. Here I have assembled the ingredients to make a double recipe. First I have 6 cups of shredded coconut, 4 cups of coconut flakes, 1 cup of sliced almonds, 1 cup of sliced Brazil nuts, 6 cups of raw pumpkin seeds, 3 cups of coconut flour, I have 1 cup of local raw honey, I have 2/3 of a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 1 cup of water. I won't show you that. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of organic vanilla extract. And that's, forgot the salt, 1 tablespoon of salt. So this is my double recipe. I have heated the water, 1 cup of water, and I'm putting that in with the honey. In this case, the honey that I have is very goopy. So I'm going to put a lot of the water in there and put the rest back on the heat in case I need a little extra hot water to get this melted. I've gotten this pretty well mixed, and I'm going to put the rest of the hot water in it just to help it dissolve the rest of the way. I'll add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and the 2/3 cup of lemon juice. This is my wet ingredients. I'm going to put this aside and we'll mix the dry ingredients. Here I have a quite large stainless steel bowl, and I'm going to start assembling the ingredients. This is the 6 cups of shredded coconut, 4 cups of coconut flakes, 1 cup of sliced almonds, 1 cup of sliced Brazil nuts, 6 cups of pumpkin seeds, raw, all the nuts are raw, 3 cups of coconut flour, 1 tablespoon of salt. So I mix this all together. This mixture has gotten thoroughly mixed now, and I'm going to add the 3 cups of melted coconut oil. Well, it's mostly melted, not entirely, but that's okay. Next thing is to stir in the coconut oil. I use all organic, high quality ingredients. Here we want to get this thoroughly mixed and not have any dry coconut anywhere. The next step is to add the liquid ingredients. It has honey and lemon juice. I'm going to mix this in thoroughly next. This is the consistency that it looks when it's thoroughly mixed. It's kind of wet a little bit, and like that. So this is ready to go into the pans. So the next thing is to grease the pans. These are about 15 by 20 inch pans, and I'm using 2 of them. If you are using only one recipe instead of a double recipe, you would only need 1. I'm putting a very generous amount of coconut oil on the pan. This helps a lot when it comes time to take the granola off of the pan. I don't use non-stick pans because the chemicals that come off of the non-stick coating come off into the food and you end up eating it. Now we're ready to put the granola on here. These are aluminum pans. I use aluminum or stainless steel cookie sheets. I do my best to divide it evenly, because it will take different amounts of time to cook if the layer is thicker or thinner. That's one thing you have to look out for when you're checking it for doneness, is one pan may be done and the other not because of the thickness. Now I've divided the granola amongst these 2 trays as evenly as I can. Maybe put a little more here. Now I've washed my hands thoroughly, and I'm going to move the granola around the tray to get it as even as I can without being crazy about it. That looks pretty even. Now I'm going to press it down. This is important for it to stick together and have it come out in chunks in the end. I used to use sunflower seeds in the mix, and I stopped using those because I personally have an autoimmune reaction to something in sunflower seeds, and I like to eat some of this sometimes. So I changed to double the pumpkin seed and take out the sunflower seed. If you don't like one of the nuts or seeds or something else in here, you can change the recipe. So again, I'm spreading it as evenly as I can. And then I'll press it. I suppose you could do it with a spoon if you wanted, or a spatula. That'd probably work. I try not to leave it too thin on the edges or the corners, because that could get too browned as it's drying. I've set my oven on 225 and I'm going to put this granola in. I'm going to check this in about an hour so that I know if it's starting to get too brown. I want it to dry out inside and cook very slowly. Sometimes I cook it overnight, just at the lowest temperature my oven will do, which is 170 in my case. Now this is the next morning, and the way you check to see if this is done is to cut it. I have this thin spatula that works really well. And this is feeling pretty crisp. So what you want is to make sure that it's dry on the back side and it's crisp so it'll break in chunks with a snap and not feel mushy at all. That means it's dry. Now to get to this point, I cooked it first on 225. It got golden brown. You can brown it more or less to your liking. And then I put it on the oven temperature on 170, and I cooked it for about 5 or 6 hours. That got it to dry out. So check the middle for dryness because the edges will dry out sooner. So this, you can see, holds together, and you can break it, it snaps. That's how it is when it's done. I take the tray after I cut it into squares and put it into a big bowl. Make sure it's all the way cooled before you put it in a jar. Then from here I put it into jars. I take the chunks and break them a little bit and put them into the jar, of course with clean hands. Sometimes I'll take a spoon handle and pack it down a little bit, as it can have big spaces in between the chunks. You could also cut these into snack bar size and use them as snack bars instead of the granola. So probably the hardest part is getting the proper dryness. I like to start with 225 degrees because that allows it to heat up really well and get started drying. And then I turn it down to a lower heat because otherwise it will be too well browned and maybe taste burnt. It will last for at least a month like that and still taste great. This is one tray of granola, or one recipe, and I've just made a double recipe. I am Nancy Main of nancymainhealth.com. We have more recipes on nancymainhealth.com if you'd like to check them out. Please subscribe to our channel if you like this recipe, and like us. Give us a comment. Tell us what you think. Thank you very much for watching.